Hello Robert, congratulations, you are the first person to buy this lightsaber. And I'm going to be basically showing you how to operate it, keep it safe, and general things you should know about it. First of all, this is how you're going to get the lightsaber. It'll come with the blade plug and then the rest of the hilt, of course. You can remove the blade plug by using an Allen key. I do not know what size this is. You can just try and mess around, try and find one that fits it. And then you just loosen the set screw in order to take it out and then tighten it to tighten it in. I'll show you how to turn it on. You unscrew the handle. There's a lot of threads on this, so it's going to take a little bit. There you go. I'm very proud of the wiring I did for this. As you can see, you can barely see any wires in there, just a little bit off to the side. This is very different from the one I made for myself like a couple years ago when I was still learning. That was my third ever lightsaber build. This one is like close to 20, so I'm very, very proud of how this turned out. Something to keep in mind, negative goes towards the top of the lightsaber, positive goes towards the speaker. Put it in, and then you switch the switch, turns on. You'll know it turns on when it makes that noise, and since it's blade detection, it's the non-working font. There you go. But you can also switch it. This is something a little better than Profi at the moment, because I have enough space to just go through all the different sound banks in the non-working, no blade mode, which is great. So I can just switch between all the different fonts that I have on here. And then you just put it in, and it sounds amazing because of the resonance, because it can just echo through here, and somehow this lightsaber just gets super loud. It's on 50% volume at the moment to keep the speaker safe, to keep everything, like your ears, safe too. It's incredibly loud, especially just for 50% volume. I wouldn't go past 75% just to try and keep the speaker from busting. You don't want it to damage at all. I think 50% is plenty loud as it is. So to turn the lightsaber on, you just press the activation button. Turn it off, you hold it for like 1 second maybe. And then this is the auxiliary button, so it gives you the blaster effect, the blade lockup effect. You can do force effect. I don't remember exactly how you do all of the different controls. I'll be sending you multiple links in the description going over how you can customize your CrystalFX board and different resources in order to understand it. And then I'll give you a quick reference guide to figure out the controls for all this. I know you can play music. I'll show you once I switch over to the working fonts. So you just unscrew retention screw, doesn't need to be on too tight, and then you put in the blade. As I told you in our messages, there you go, that's the connect sound. You may need to sand your blade because this is kind of a tight fit for trans white tubes, which is what most blades are made out of. I made this one out of a clear tube, so it tends to fit better, but you may need to sand it down. So just keep that in mind. When you sand it, I recommend taping it up and then sanding the part that's going to be inside so you don't sand the rest of it. But if you buy the sanded version, I don't think it really matters because the whole thing will be sanded. So it doesn't matter if you're sanding out of the emitter. There you go. So then just lock it up. And then it's on. Here are the localized effects, lock up, and then you can turn it off. For Bluetooth, you're going to want to have either the ForceSync app or the CrystalFX app. Either one of those, when you connect it to Bluetooth, it'll ask you for the code. It's going to be 6 zeros, so 000 000, and then it won't ask you again because it'll remember the device. And then you can just, on CrystalFX, you can edit the blade styles and whatnot, upload it straight from libraries and stuff onto the saber, which is pretty cool. You can update the firmware from there. You can run different commands. It's really, really good. You can also change color. And speaking of which, when you change color, you can just press activation and auxiliary at the same time, and then just sort of cycle through the different colors you have here. And then if you want, you can go to spectrum mode, hold down the auxiliary button,
blade profiles,
and then you can cycle through the blade profile, so it'll go to the different animation styles that I have set up. A bunch of different ones. And then to cycle through to the next font, when it's off, just hold down the activation button and just sort of clash. Whoops.
green,
There you go.
purple,
You can play music by holding down the activation button, I believe. Yeah, there you go. And then you can turn it off by double tapping. And then I'll show off a few more of these fonts. I have about 30 of them. It's pretty easy to install the fonts. Again, I'll be giving you the resources in the description. So I have about 30 different fonts, 30 different colors, and blade profiles all set up in here.
sound bank selection,
You can also access the sound bank by holding down the auxiliary button for a few seconds, and then you'll hear the sound bank selection pop up. This goes backwards. So you will go backwards in your fonts by pressing the activation and forward by pressing auxiliary.
green, purple,
And then if you want to go forward, I think 5, you press both. And then you hold down the activation in order to select it. And then you just press. And there you have it. So I'll just cycle through a few of these.
sound bank selection, green, purple,
CrystalFX.
Nebula.
green,
Revolt. Shadow. The portman. The old rip. Shout.
youngling,
This one's a fun one. I can show off the Neopixel. Rainbow Blade. The CFX. Flash the bolts. Whoops. It's a bit tricky sometimes with that, holding activation and clashing.
green,
There you go, green.
purple, red, white,
So yeah, I have all these different ones that you can play around with. I'm going to be sending you the resources in order to see what all the buttons do, because I forget what all the buttons do. Let me quickly show you the force activation. That's something else you'll need to get, is just a magnetic ring. You can get it super cheap on Amazon or somewhere. I do not have any more to send out. So let me just show you a little bit on how to activate that, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back. Here is the magnetic ring. You can get one like this off Amazon. I got one that had 3 different sizes, and this is just the one that fits me. So you just sort of wave it over the soundboard. The soundboard exists right around here, so that's where it can sense the most. Sometimes it can be a bit finicky, but you'll figure it out. And then you can always recalibrate it. If you read the soundboard manual, which I will also be sending to you, you can just customize a whole bunch of cool things on here. So yeah, this is something you'll definitely want to get. You can also set it up so you can't turn on the lightsaber unless you have a certain magnetic field to it. So unless it senses this magnetic field, it wouldn't turn on. So you can mess with your friends or something, where you can give this to a friend, they try to turn it on, it doesn't work, and then they hand it to you, and then you hold it with the magnetic ring, of course, press it, and it turns on. I never got to try that. I want to one day, but it sounds super fun. Yep. And then I know in the future there's going to be a lot more updates to the CrystalFocus, so I would definitely look into getting into customizing it too. So it'll have a bunch of other cool features as well. If you read the soundboard manual, you can see just how many features there are. I pretty much set up everything except for the OLED display, so the blade detection, Bluetooth, the force activation is set up. It also has an independent Neopixel connector. It's wired independently. I haven't quite set up how that works yet. You can adjust it in the accent LED files. At the moment, I just have it mimicking the blade, so it's just acting as a mini blade at the moment, so you can just sort of see it scroll up and down. And I think that is just about everything I need to tell you. When you go and customize the lightsaber, all you'll really need is the SD card. You don't ever really need to plug it into the computer, especially not with Bluetooth. So all you need to do to access it, just take out the battery, and then the SD card is right in here, so you can just tap on that and then pull it out and then put it back in by clicking it back in place. There you go. And if this ever sticks out too much, which I don't think it will, you could just hold it down with Captain tape or something, but I set it up so it sits pretty well in place. Something else to keep in mind is just make sure not to put it in backwards, of course, because it might fry it. Even though this does have reverse polarity protection, it can only do so much. I think that's probably about it. I have everything you need on the SD card and in the description. If you need anything else, just feel free to ask me and I will do my best to help you. This is one of the best built lightsabers I've done with the wiring, the setup, the buttons work perfectly. I learned a lot from my first build of these sabers, so you're going to be getting the best of the best right here. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm also going to be sending you the battery. And again, have any questions, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. I'll be sending this out tomorrow, so you can look forward to that. And hope you enjoy. May the Force be with you.